Hey everybody, welcome back to Recall the Podcast. My name is Josh, and today is 2 years of the podcast. That's right, today is the second anniversary of the podcast. We've had a lot of fun this year. It's been so great having everybody out. And so, instead of having a guest out today, I figured I would compile a little bit of a best of video for you guys to watch and kind of just see some of the highlights of the moments over the last year or so. So that's what we're going to jump into today, and I'll see you at the end of the video.
But yeah, generally, I think it is machine learning and AI for the most part of these algorithms these days.
Is that a benefit or not?
We love AI.
You love AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
It's. I mean, look, it's one of those things that like it's not going to go away. It's here.
True.
It's not going to change. You got to learn to live with it. You got to learn to work with it. And the sooner that you can figure out how to work with it to improve whatever the hell you're doing, then the better off you're going to be. You're not going to be left in the dust at that point. But thing is yeah, I encourage everybody to at least interact a little bit with like something like Chat GPT and let it do some copy editing for you. You know, let it read through your posts on Facebook before you post it, just to make sure that it can be cleaned up a little bit more. Let it maybe generate a couple ideas for post content. You know, like work with it. Use it as a tool. Use it as an assistant.
I use it, and my wife uses it for a lot of the video editing, but I'm also kind of terrified of it. Just a little bit. Because if we do it wrong, we're all screwed. That's just reality. If we do it wrong, we are screwed.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's not going to be on people like you or me. That's going to come from the dumbasses that actually have the power.
I mean, I guess that's fair, yeah. I think we're not humans, and as a whole, are not smart enough to not go beyond that bound. No,
we're very much about pushing the limits of every boundary that is set in place.
Yep.
From every historical aspect and like every event in history to now to the future. It's all about pushing boundaries.
Yeah, we're gonna take it too far.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is going to be in history books in 100 years.
Well, if there are history books.
This is going to be in history books on alien planets in 100 years.
Yeah. Written by AI. I wrote out this entire list a couple of weeks ago about the reasons why the Delaware scene fell off. Mm-hmm. And the first one I wrote is, we all blame ourselves and we're sorry.
Yeah.
So
that's like the most succinct way to put it.
I can't think of anyone that hasn't described this scene like with some type of longing nostalgia, but there's always that little pain at the end. They're like, ooh, it's like a flashback. It was like some shit happened.
Yeah, a lot of shit happened. A lot of great things and a lot of bad.
Yeah.
It was, it was the best time to be alive, but you kind of didn't want to be around it, you know?
Yeah.
So, I got this whole list, if you don't mind going through a little bit of the old stuff. And so, like, okay, first one was, a lot of us blame ourselves. We are sorry. The old guard fucked y'all up. Sorry.
At least you're saying it.
We acknowledge it. You know, I've talked to other bands about it. It's like, we definitely ruined any chance of anyone new coming in and doing anything fun with this.
Yeah.
Because we were the terrors breaking everybody's houses.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry, bro.
I mean, I get the mentality because, dude, some of our best footage comes from us just like stomping in some random person's kitchen in Jersey.
Yeah. We broke a light. We had a house show at...
The cops did get called, but it was not our fault.
Yes.
At our guitarist's house. His mom let us do a house show there. She let us do a couple of house shows there, but this one specific one... Our vocalist was a really, really tall guy. He was dancing so hard, he swung his arms up and blew out the fan, blew out the light, and then there was this big old teddy bear on the side, and it got tore to shreds. The couches got tore up. Like, we walked out of there in a massacre. And she was like, well, this probably isn't happening anymore.
Done.
That was a lot of the reason why a lot of people stopped doing a lot of things. It didn't just stop at the house shows. It kept going at the fire halls. It kept going at the bars and little studios that you could get into. No one wanted us there. No one. It was legit. So, all right. So it started off with phase 1. Shows every week and weekend. We had the Crystal Pistol, City Tab Wagon Wheel, Hartley Fire Hall, CC22s, Anti-Prom. You all know already we don't talk about Anti-Prom. Coyotes, circles, churches, house shows, galore. We were playing so much, we didn't have time to practice. We were at shows every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then if we had time, we'd practice on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Yeah.
It was flooded.
Yeah.
God, yeah, it was like every couple of blocks there was a show or a house party or something somebody was playing at.
Dude.
You know? With all kinds of really, really good bands. Nobody was playing covers. They were all playing originals. Mm-hmm. Everybody knew everybody. You know, if you couldn't get a show there, you could get a show down the road. If you couldn't get it down the road, you could go to Anti-Prom. We don't talk about Anti-Prom. but it was everywhere. It was madness. And so then we went into phase 2. Venues started dropping off because of all the fights that we were having, because of all the property damage we were incurring. I remember one, Hartley Fire Hall. I played, I got off, I was trying to get my drum set packed up, and me and Justice go out to the parking area to start loading stuff up, and there was just these two ladies beating the crap out of each other. I guess they were dating or something, and one cheated on one or whatever like that.
The Delaware love story.
Yeah. Well, anyway, one of them started running off. They ran into my van. The other one followed. They came out of my van. They went and broke a window in another vehicle next door to it. And the whole chase went on and off. And then that was really like Hartley Fire Hall was kind of like, kind of getting flatlined now. But it wasn't even the bands at that time. That was just people outside.
It was the lovely ladies beating the piss out of each other in the parking lot, which sounds hardcore as but
we tried. We really did.
Not great for business.
Tried to continue on. My cousin Dustin, he ran a lot of those shows. He helped figure out the food, get all the money organized, and after time and all these arguments, all these fights, all the parking lot arguments. It was like, look, we can't do this no more.
Yeah, we can't take the chance on you guys
Exactly.
anymore.
And then it became an insurance thing. Then the same thing was happening at the Wagon Wheel. And I remember, I think it was Circles in Milford. They also had the same problem. So
Circles got shut down for some
Yeah. Yeah.
I know the people that owned it, so I was like, oh boy, that's that rut-row raggy.
Then the neighbors started complaining about noise. Our shows would go at what noise ordinance it was 9:30, 10 o'clock or something like that. We would play well after that. So cops were always constantly showing up to all of our shows. And then we got to phase 3. Things started slowing down but kept going until these 3 things happened. Kids started getting jobs, having kids of their own, so the priorities changed, and rehabs and deaths.
Yep.
No.
The drugs started showing. Everybody was doing them at the shows, but they were starting to show that you were doing them. And interventions were happening. Rehabs were getting filled up with all of our people. And then we lost a lot of people, a lot of people.
I think that the time of dropping entire CDs and libraries of stuff might be over.
Quite a few bands I've spoken to are in that mind frame.
Yep.
And I mean, I just talked to one a couple of months ago from Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas.
All right, nice.
And they were in the same mind frame. Albums are dead.
Yep.
Just make singles, do videos.
Yep, exactly. So social media presence,
that's what they've been getting.
Presence,
that's what they're getting their views from.
Right.
They release an album, and their thought process, and it stands true, is I release 12 songs today. Someone might listen to one, and that's it.
And you have that long lag,
right,
of time.
Exactly. But if you take all those 12 songs you're going to put on an album and release one every month, someone's looking at you every month.
All the time.
You have been kind of a titan recently.
Yeah.
Getting the Delaware scene promoted I'm really proud of you, Dano.
I'm trying. There's a lot of speed bumps, but what's it called? Let's just say I got my shit together, and it took time. You know what I mean, to get myself
I think
together.
you're doing good.
Yeah.
A lot of the bands, I've had a lot of local bands out, and they all mention your name. They're all very happy with the things that you're doing.
Absolutely.
They appreciate the things that you're doing for the community and the scene.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some pride in that, for
Absolutely.
sure. You're coming off of the success of the Cult video that was put up. How was that process? Was it stressful at all, or?
Oh, it was so stressful. We spent 12 hours the whole day. We drove out to New Jersey. Shout out to our boy Eric Taylor Parker, who directed it, and he did a great job filming it in his space. You can catch it on BBTV. It is incredible. We put a lot of work into it, but yeah, we spent all day doing it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the video that you see, a lot of the stuff besides the music was done the day of. All the ideas and storyboarding was done on the spot. So Eric did a very good job helping us put together an awesome story for the video.
Well, I was going to ask what song, if anybody was listening to just one of your songs, which one would they pick? But I assume it's going to be the new one that's coming out.
It'll definitely be the new one, because this is...
It's a matter of opinion.
Yeah.
It's called Pen Up and Pissed Off. It's going to be coming out the 13th of September.
Okay, very cool. So you seem to have a difference of opinion.
In my opinion, the song that we're dropping, next, Pray for Rain, is definitely going to be, I feel like it's a better one. That's just my opinion, though. So.
Yeah, it is a little bit more of a storytelling song, and I love his vocals in it.
If someone's listening to your stuff and only had one song to go through, what one song would get them into your band?
Withered.
Withered?
Yeah, it's our latest single that we released. It's the thing we released right after the EP. I think we released it in February of this year. Yeah, we released it in February. I would definitely say Wither's a banger.
Yeah, really hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're playing it here tonight, so you'll hear it.
What are the changes that you have seen in the scene itself since then? Because I'm sure there's been a lot of changes between now and then.
Of course. Well, I mean, Nick's been a part of that scene as well. He played in a lot of bands at the time that we all played together in the same scene. So I think we all had the same experiences.
Was it in Delaware as well, or?
No, this was all Mount Airy, Maryland.
Yeah, we're from Central Maryland.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool.
I'd say, basically, maybe back then everyone wasn't as close, as friends, staying connected.
Right.
Nowadays, a lot of bands are more about keeping together, getting close as friends, going on runs together, keeping tight. Once you find those few bands that you click with real well, it's fun to go on runs and do your thing together.
You know what else I drove by was a CNR Center.
Oh, okay.
I was out that way.
There you go.
That's another memory.
Man, I remember that. Yeah.
CNR Center, yeah.
I had that big old van, and we would all get in there and play video games while we waited on the show to start.
But, God, I remember I used to have all the videos of us playing live till my camera got stolen.
Yeah.
That's a bummer,
Yeah, that is a bummer, because I'd like to see some of those photos now.
Yeah. Pictures,
I've only got
photos.
a small handful of
Me
that.
too, anymore. I still have the black and whites we took.
I've got one.
One.
The group photo, that's the only one I have,
I have a whole photo album of them.
Well, look at you.
I had to bring them by.
Way to brag,
I had to bring them by. But yeah, I've been running into a lot of spots that we used to play lately.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy.
Nostalgia, man. It hits weird, right?
Yeah. But way out there and nowhere, you know what I mean? CNR Center.
I cut them out anyway. It's okay.
The CNR Center was out there in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it really was. And we all showed up anyway.
But I liked the venue. It had an awesome fireplace in the background.
Yeah. Like I said, I spent most time playing video games in the back of the van. So, I mean, I was there, but I wasn't really there, you know? I do have some pictures of that. I think I posted one not too long ago of me playing drums there at the CNR Center.
Was it Hartley or CNR Center?
No, it was CNR.
Was it?
It wasn't Hartley for sure. Yeah, because, Well, I can't say why. So, what's going on through your head when you're writing songs like "Beg for Death"? Like what is your mind frame when writing that kind of lyrics?
Yeah, I mean, it's about I guess I always like wrote poetry, so just like trying to like get out whatever's in there. And if it's that most extreme amount of like pain or hurt or type of hate, that you can kind of just go there and feel that, and it doesn't have to like really control you, and just to like let that out on paper and just kind of just dump it out, and then add it to the music and just make it as brutal as possible and just kind of go in that direction with it.
There were quite a few people, friends, family, a few messages that all had made the point that they do not really care for the template for the main screen. So all the other templates are going to stay the same, but the main template that you will see for the majority of the time will now change to this. And hopefully that appeases some people. The reason why I had this smaller template is because I don't have that great of a camera, and you make do with what you have, and when it's a smaller screen, it doesn't look as fuzzy. So when we switch over, you will see some more of the fuzziness and so on, but there's not much I can really help. So we're going to do this for a year, and new year, new me type thing. We talked about it with Justice on a previous podcast. You can go back and check that out. So this is going to be the main screen template for the remainder of 2025, starting right now. So the next question was going to be about releases, and our co-host here hasn't really said much, so we're going to have him ask them the question.
Ooh. Let's go, Chris.
Well, thank
Here's
you,
the
Josh.
real question. What should I ask?
Anything you want about the new releases.
Ooh, yeah. When are they coming out? Do you have a date for them yet?
When they put them out.
Releases.
Today, tomorrow, yesterday, every day.
You listen to Dutchman every day.
I'll let you know when I release the answer.
I actually do listen to Dutchman pretty much every single day.
Yeah, no. So Chris here.
Yeah,
Chris
no
has
choice.
been hanging around since I was, 15, 14.
I don't know.
How much time?
God, Lord,
Probably
at least
about
15 years. At least damn near 15 years. So he's joking. He gets everything early. He has absolutely everything the minute it happens.
My 2024 Wrapped on Spotify was on the run for number one song.
Are you serious?
There you go.
I think it was June or January 22nd. It was played like 120 times.
God bless
Listeners,
nonstop.
you hear that? You think you're the number one fan? Think again.
You want to go ahead and tell us about your sign there?
Oh, is it? I'm
All right,
talking about this? It's
Connor, you want to tell him what it says?
It was a late Christmas present. Gary got me this for my desk. It says, "Fucker in charge of you fucking fucks."
And that could not be the most truest fucking thing of this band, honestly.
From your two bosses, yeah.
Oh no, it was from him to him.
Listen, there's plenty of people who's worked for this band that would agree that I'm a fucker. So
Yeah, you are a fucker.
Yep.
Not even a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You're just a fucker.
we know those people.
What's great on that is the famous algorithms everyone's phone has. Like they're always listening.
Yeah, they are.
You know what I
They
mean?
know when you
So like
no, it's just TikTok.
So you remember the award show when we
just-
were down in my basement apartment back in the day?
Yes.
So
That was like 5 months
When
ago.
he stood on a table
But
and
now
said
I
he was
have a house.
unfireable.
So
Right.
it's different.
Anyway,
You know what I mean?
yes, the award show.
So we were down there, and Fez was fucking around with like some kind of guitar. He was like, I don't know if you remember it, but what I remember is like you got the name wrong or what kind of guitar it was. Like it was something stupid. It's not like you're stupid. It's what I'm saying. Like it was minute.
What's the point
It was minute, right? And it was a big day because it was our hometown hero awards day.
Was it this past one we just did?
Yeah, the one we
Okay.
just did.
Okay.
So we're waiting on some guy that isn't even in the band to come, like all that stuff, right?
Right.
So we're
Talking about that
distressed.
guy already.
Yeah.
No.
Nah.
No.
We love that guy, but we're not.
I
talking
do
about
love
that
that
guy.
guy.
So Fez was like, "Oh, it's not a 6-string. It's like an acoustic or like I don't know. It was something like that, right?" And I go, "It's this, you fucking fuck." and then later on, me and Connor like saw through like an advertisement scrolling through our phones while in the studio. Literally, it was
Is that how this
it was
came
the
up?
advertisement for this placard.
Is that how that happened?
Right here.
Everybody has their own life behind the scenes of doing their music. I'm sure you guys have jobs that you have to take care of and families and so on and so forth. Can you speak on how it is balancing your work life, your home life, your music life, and still keeping everybody sane and happy?
I think for me, I'm only speaking for myself. You know, it starts with having a great support system. You know, my fiance Shannon, she's absolutely great. You know, my kids are great. I've got a great support system, even in my mom. You know, she's actually a really big inspiration for this album, because I remember, you know, I was talking to her and I was like, you know, I really want to put my own album out. And she was like, well, you know, you really should. And I was like, well, I don't know. You know, I don't know what that's going to sound like. I don't know what that's going to look like. And then it just so happened I was in talking with Martin, and, you know, here it is.
Right.
So.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with Dave a lot on that. It's really about the people around you, giving you the space and the time to be able to do your thing.
Yeah.
You know, having a great support system and just making the time to do it, you know. Plus, I mean, just having to set everything aside emotionally to be able to work on stuff that can be a lot in itself too.
Right. It's been here and there. There's, I won't say struggles, but I will say struggles of, like, you know, keeping my family life and the band kind of intact together, because my wife and I work very closely with a lot of the stuff that goes on in Recall the Moment. She does a lot of the artwork. She helps me kind of make decisions around here while Justice isn't around. And then, you know, on top of that, I also have to keep a production company happy as well. So sometimes it clashes and butts heads and stuff. We haven't had too bad of a run at it. We've been doing pretty okay with it, but there's a couple of points of contention that, like, you know, she might want something one way and I might want it another, and then it's like, you know, she feels bad for saying something because it's, you know, my band, but then I feel bad saying something because I don't want her to feel like she's not involved, and she's definitely involved in everything we do here in Recall the Moment.
Right.
So, and then, you know, we have to go from that kind of a mode back to mom and dad to the kids. I did write down an inspiring quote from you, and it actually kind of resonated with me. So I'm going to read a little bit of it now and kind of talk about it a little with you. Yeah, it was on your Facebook. I do research, you know, something that I had read, and I was like, wow, I get this. So it says, imagine waking up 10 to 20 years from now, and you realize that you settled, that you let comfort, fear, and someone else's expectations keep you locked in life and drained you instead of chasing the one that fuels you. That's the real nightmare. Regret is way worse than failure, because at least failure means you tried. I 100% agree with that statement.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, if you, look, whatever happens here, but at least I can say I tried.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you have two options. You can either be like, well, I suck, I'm not going to try anymore. Or you can be like, well, I learned this one little thing, let me try one more time.
Right, yeah. And like I've noticed, like it's the continuation of this band is a series of little failures that have taught me something that improves me for the future. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If something goes wrong, you know, use it as a lesson to carry on to the next time. And then when that scenario happens again, you've learned what not to do, at least, you know?
Yeah, no, I just like to live really deeply, man. I'm just here for the roller coaster of emotions. Like, I want to feel it all, you know? Like, why not take those chances? Why not just live through it and really have some substance?
My overall hope is that more people get into writing music, and because here's a myth. Myth is this: you go to college, you have to go to Washington, you got to go to Baltimore, Philly, or New York to get a job.
Yeah.
There are no jobs where you grew up.
Right.
That's not true, because you can be educated and get an education, finance, whatever.
Yeah.
There's finance jobs. There's insurance jobs everywhere across the country, in every town, and all over America, big, small. You don't have to go to the city.
Right.
Now, the corporations and the headquarters exist in the big cities, sure.
Yeah.
But you can find jobs. People are needed in all sorts of jobs all across the country. So,
you can make your own.
Or you can make your own.
Yeah.
And that, just find a need and fulfill it. I think that also applies to music. The myth is that you have to go to Baltimore. You got to go to Philly in order to make it big.
Nashville.
Or Nashville or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is true is there are more and better musicians concentrated in Nashville, absolutely New York and Philly and all those, and California a little bit, than there are in rural areas. However, where the Black Keys come from? Ohio.
Right.
Where did 311 come from? Omaha.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Rarely do bands that are huge that we all know and love come from the big city. They come from small towns. Bakersfield, California is where Korn is from.
Right.
It's a farming community. It's not a big, huge metropolis. So, I mean, relative to Milford, Delaware, I'm sure it's enormous, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
This is why this is here, and its hope is not to be more than anything to inspire people, leave a legacy, and help other people have their legacy of their music that they wrote, and express themselves. Because in a bigger picture, could you imagine right now if I was like, hey, Josh, check this out. This is your grandfather. He wrote this song. This is him singing and recording. Whether it was crappy or not, you'd be like, what?
Yeah, I keep a file. I have this massive hard drive that I keep a file of everything I've ever done. Video, music, even the little didn't do anything with kind of stuff. I have, and in the file's name is for when I die. So that I can, if my kids ever come across that when I pass away, they have this whole chronicle of everything I ever did.
Wow.
Is something to leave them. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I totally understand that. And that's going to be about it for today. So, for the Recall the Moment stuff, we just released a new song, Say You Won't Forget. Make sure to stop in and check that out. I want to thank everybody for watching the podcast and the music and everything we've been posting throughout the last 2 years. I really appreciate it. I'm sure Justice also really appreciates it. So until next time, peace and love, y'all.